Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our Creating and Publishing a Canopy Bridge to Infrastructure webinar today. We're very happy to have Seth Cohen here to guide us through, and just going to give you guys some logistical info, and then we'll pass it over to Seth. So all attendee lines will be muted for this presentation. Please go ahead and send us your questions via the Q&A or chat boxes. We will be going over those at the very end. And the webcast will be recorded and we'll be uploading that to both our YouTube channel. And if you're registered for this webinar, you'll be receiving an email with that recording as well, typically within the next couple hours. Any questions, concerns, anything like that, please don't hesitate to give us a call, 305-445-6480, or shoot us an email at info@ddscad.com. All right, Seth, take it away.
All right, thanks everybody. All right, so today we're going to talk about creating and publishing a Canopy bridge to InfraWorks. The more I thought about this presentation, I kind of realized I probably should have put in the title like Civil 3D or AutoCAD, because we're not doing this in Revit or anything like that. This is going to be all in AutoCAD, and actually not even really using Civil 3D too much, but of course, obviously Civil 3D is built on top of AutoCAD. All right, so this is a real world project scenario, and I'm going to show you the final kind of product and what was asked for and all that good stuff. And then we're going to dive into AutoCAD modeling in Civil 3D. We'll talk about kind of AutoCAD rendering in case that's something that you might be interested in doing, because AutoCAD has a pretty good rendering engine. And then we'll kind of put it all together in InfraWorks. I might show you some tips and tricks depending on how much time we have. And then showing stakeholders the project with something called shared views. All right. So again, as you guys know, I'm not very big on PowerPoint, so let's just go ahead and just dive right in. All right, so this right here, again, I'm in Civil 3D, but again, Civil 3D is really AutoCAD. And this is the completed project, or this is the completed model, all right? It's not just a model, it's a bunch of little models all together. Let me change this here to a realistic type view so you can see it's actually really rendered. I'm holding the Shift key down and middle clicking or middle panning to rotate the view. All right, I know it's over the internet and it's over the the GoToMeeting, and it might be a little choppy, but you guys kind of get the idea. All right, there's actually a roof here. This actually has a wood material. There's concrete, all that good stuff. It's all kind of in the using the shading and everything else there too. The other final thing I want to show you is the actual shared view, and I'll show you how to get here. But this is the beauty of the new functionality. I think it was 2022 when they added it, maybe in 2021, but if you look right here, this is the final product, and this is actually it's what's called an Autodesk shared view. No one needs to have anything for software. It all works in the browser, right? So this is coming from InfraWorks. You can see the trail along the path here, and here's just a main road that I had just drawn in with a bridge and everything. And you can basically see everything is completely done. Right in here. And again, the user or the stakeholders don't need to have any software to view this. They can look at it, they can review it. You'll notice here there are some predefined views. There's the back, there's the front, on the bridge, on the path, on this path, etc. Right? You get the idea. Basically, all this stuff that you may have done in, taking it into InfraWorks, that can be completely automated and then brought into just any browser. It doesn't matter. And it'll just work. That's the beauty of this. And then basically the users don't even need software, right? All right, so let's actually just get started. So I'm going to just start from scratch. I mean, that's the beauty of this. That's why I kind of wanted to show this, is that a lot of people, they just, when they hear 3D modeling or InfraWorks or whatever, they say, oh, I just don't have the time, because, again, I think in my mind, here's the actual PDF of this project. Yes, this gets something across, right? You have dimensions, you got a plan view, an elevation view, a front view, etc. But I'm sorry, but I think this is much better, right? You show this to your stakeholders, and that really gives them the wow, because they're actually seeing it completely done, as far as seeing it. Again, the old days of doing this are no longer really needed. I mean, yes, I know it takes you a little bit less time, but honestly, when you see how fast I get this done, it's really, again, yes, just like anything in CAD or just in life, you a little bit of training, a little bit of practice. I always tell people, just practice on your own, where you're not in a project file, you're just drawing something up. find something real world and say, I want to draw this building, I want to draw this, whatever it is, and then basically just practice with that, because it's really not that difficult, and just getting a good hold of 3D will really make this easier. Like I said, this actually took me maybe an hour or so to get done. It's really not that big of a deal, but as you can see, I drew that up in the 2D details as well. But you can automate that as well. We're not going to get into that. That's more AutoCAD 3D modeling kind of views, but you could automate that using AutoCAD as well. All right, so I'm going to start from scratch. So I've got a blank drawing here, and there's a couple of little tips here I want to show you first. Again, if you're going to do rendering, which I recommend you do, it's not hard. What you want to do is first change your workspace down here in the bottom to 3D modeling. That'll just give you access to all the tools. Again, you don't have to. You can if you know the commands, the names of the commands, you can just invoke them in the command line window. Or that some of them are in the Civil 3D workspace, the majority of them are not. All right. So as you can see, my ribbon tabs have changed, and when I go to the Home tab, it's not showing the show tool space. It's 3D modeling specific. Okay. So it's just kind of a nice little way to kind of just put you in that mode of you have the tools all available to you here. All right. All right, so again, I've got the PDF on the side here just so I can start, but basically here's the PDF that I have. Here are my dimensions. And let me just show you where this really exists, because I like to show it in real context. Like, I'm not showing you some whiz bang, really cool, just demo that works perfectly. This is actually in the real world. All right, so this is in Suwannee County, sorry. This is the Santa Fe River. All right, this is Suwannee County. This is Columbia County here on the right side. This is what's separating the two, all right? This is the Ichetucknee River. And basically our job here, we have a LAP project from DOT. It's using the Florida Green Trails, I believe what it was, or something like that. That's how it's being funded. And this trail ends here, okay, as you can see, or begins here in the Columbia side. And on the Suwannee side, it actually ends over here. Now we're reclaiming this entire path. As you can see, it's about 14 miles long. So obviously we're using Civil 3D to get the corridor model and all that good stuff, and cross sections and plan profile, and so on. We're not doing a lot of cross sections, but as you can see, one of the stipulations was the path people, the owners of the path, it's the Greenway Trail, I'm sorry, it's the Suwannee County Parks and Recreation. They wanted a really nice looking bridge over here, over the Ichetucknee, because right now this is a railroad bed right now. Okay, so we proposed to them saying, yeah, we'd love to do a canopy bridge. Now it's got to follow DOT standards, where you have to have 4 inches, no larger than 4 inches across for spacing. Obviously, they want somebody jumping off it, and it is going to require canopy as well. You can't just do the flat bridge. They don't want people climbing over it, that kind of stuff. Okay, so basically, again, railroad project. It's all in this location here, and that's how this kind of came to be. All right. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention, as far as drawing this up in, again, this is just a regular AutoCAD. I'm going to be using regular AutoCAD tools, nothing Civil 3D here. So you might think you need to be in a specific the actual coordinate system where that project is. You can move it afterwards if you really want to. In fact, just to kind of show you what I've done, I put that bridge right over here. Here's the actual location, right? You could remember seeing that jog. I drew this little shape that outlines the river. And if we kind of look at this in 3D real quickly here, I'll do a southwest isometric view. Hopefully my computer will be okay with that. Should be just fine. But basically, I put that in here, but as you're drafting or creating it, it's actually better to just do it at 0, 0. You don't need to put it in the coordinate system. In fact, I found some issues when doing that, because it actually was changing kind of my view a little bit differently here. As far as like when I would rotate the view in 3D, ignore those glyphs, that's just the camera. But you can see here, I did actually put it on the path, right? So there's the bridge on the path, which is the corridor model right here. Okay, so that's what this is right here. This is the actual corridor model. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and just go to the start here. And again, I'm at 0, 0. You can kind of tell by if I pan around, right, that stays right over there. Okay, so I'm going to just begin drawing this. Now, one thing also to mention is if you want to automate the rendering, what you could do is have a template that has layers. I made this really simple so you guys wouldn't get overwhelmed with layers. I've got about 7 layers here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. 1 layer for each object type that I want to automate the rendering for. I have a concrete foundation, the concrete posts, fences. I have a miscellaneous layer in case you want to just draw something in CAD, a roof, and a wood layer. All right, so these are all mapped already. And just to kind of show you where this is, if you go to visualize, if I remember correctly, where are we here? Material mapping, attach by layer here. And what you do is you, again, I don't use 3D that much, so it's to find it kind of just takes me a little bit of time sometimes. But if you look here, what I've done already is I added those materials to the drawing using the materials browser, okay? And then basically I just mapped the material I want to the layer. It's really that simple. You literally just drag it onto the layer that you want. So I want the shingles to be the roof. I want the flat grade to be the concrete foundation. The ribbed vertical, different type of concrete, just to show the post a little differently, right? So this can be stored in your template. Once that's done, you're basically just to file new, you have a 3D modeling template. That's all it is, just an AutoCAD 3D modeling template, okay? All right, so I'm gonna just begin drawing here. So I'm gonna start with my concrete foundation. And basically this is, after just doing a little bit of research, just to kind of show you this here, this bridge already exists, all right? The bridge already exists, it's a railroad bridge. So obviously, structurally, it's already good for a railroad. We did some structural analysis, and it's plenty good for just a regular multi-use path, right? There's not going to be a train going over this, right? You might get some people driving an ATV, which they're not supposed to, but they may, but it's not going to be a big deal, all right? So we're going to build on top of this, and what we have is this kind of foundation that we're going to build it on already, all right? So I have a 14 by 32 bridge, all right? But I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because visually I wanted to kind of show it sitting on that pad, all right? So I'm in the concrete foundation layer. All right, I'm just going to start the rectangle command here. All right, I'm going to start at 0, 0. So I'm going to just type 0, 0. I always have dynamic input turned on. And then here, I'm going to basically use dynamic input to define the dimensions of this concrete foundation. So again, this is going to be a 32, 16, and there's my foundation. Now, I like to be in 3D when I kind of start doing stuff. So I'm holding the shift key down. That's all I'm doing, and panning. Pretend you're panning, but holding the shift key down. So it rotates the view. One thing to keep your eye on is the view cube right here. This gives you a nice orientation as far as how it works. Now, because I have it set in a certain way, notice how it's never leaving bottom. It's just rotating it, and it's never letting it go all the way around the world, which is nice. All right. Again, keep an eye on that. That lets you see your orientation. If you want to make it a little bigger, go to the Viewcube settings here, and I'll just make it a little bit larger just for here so we can kind of see it. There we go. All right, sometimes it gets in the way, so I like to have it small, but I'll leave it there. That way we can kind of have an idea how this works. All right, now, so within the ribbon here, a couple ways you can do this. I'll just go to the Home tab. You can do a press pull or extrude. We're going to use both in this presentation. There are sometimes you want to use press pull and sometimes you want to use extrude, okay? In this case, I want to use press pull, so I could just click it. However, there's a little trick here. Hold the Control, Shift, and E button down at the same time and hover your mouse. Notice how it highlights it or the dash around it. If I left click, let go of the Control, Shift, and E, it automatically does a press pull. It's kind of a nice little feature, all right? So I'm gonna just go down 3 feet. I don't need to be having any major. I just want something to show a depth. So I'll type 3 and then go enter. All right, now what I want to do is I want to draw an arc because I want to mimic where the arch is, right over here. You can kind of see it, right? I want to mimic that, okay, because that's what actually is out there now. And I'm going to do that by drawing an arc from here, go midway and go that way. Now, one of the things you want to kind of master as you do 3D modeling is your UCS. It's not as hard as you think. Again, play around with it. If you mess up, it's not a big deal. You're just playing. But I just kind of rotate the UCS by clicking on it. Notice how it's selectable. Because if I draw an arc right now and I want to snap here and I want it to draw, I'm going to basically extrude that. And if I just start drawing here, right, what am I drawing? I'm drawing an arc on the XY plane. Yes, it grabs the Z, it grabs the elevation that I snap to, but it does not change it to the orientation that I want it to be. So what you have to do is just pick this here. I want to draw on this face. All you got to do is pick the Y grip, and I'll go straight up here. Oh, let me turn tracking on, and I'll turn snapping on here. And now, again, look at the XY plane, right? So if I just draw a rectangle real quickly, you'll see now I'm drawing, on that plane. It doesn't matter if you snap there, it does not matter. So now I can draw the arc, and I'll just snap here. Now notice how when I hover, sometimes it's highlighting here. Let me just start that again so you can see it. See how it's highlighting? I don't like that. That's something called dynamic UCS, which I have on. It's turned on. I recommend you turn that off. It kind of gets in the way, and it moves the UCS around. It's really kind of weird. So I'm going to go ahead and snap here. all right? I'm just gonna do a mid between 2 points. So I'm gonna snap here and snap here. And then I'm gonna just draw an arc down here, just to the endpoint there, right? Just something simple. It doesn't have to be totally in detail. Now, one of the things you may have noticed is it is like a blue triangle. That is 3DO snaps, which is right here. I turn on vertex, midpoint and edge, center, and perpendicular. All right, that, if you don't see it there, you go to the hamburger, that's what it's called, right over here, and there's 3D object snap right there, okay? So just be aware of that. Now, I want to slice out or cut out this part here. Control, Shift, E again, which is just press pull, hover, click, go all the way out, and just like that, I now have that completely done. If we want to render that, I'll go ahead and change this to realistic. You'll notice it's already rendered because that layer is set that way. Pretty quick, right? This is how fast this can be for you guys. Now, I don't like this background, this grayish. It kind of drives my eyes crazy. So what I do is I right click here, go to options. I'm okay with black. I'll figure out, it's basically kind of signifying to you that, hey, you're in a 3D view or 3D visual style. All right, that's okay with me. All right, I toggle between the two. Always go to 2D wireframe when you're done, because it makes it much faster, right, to rotate the view of that kind of stuff. All right, so now I'm going to rotate back my UCS back here. So notice how it kind of messed up a little bit. It's kind of out here in space. It does that with the press pull command sometimes. Just click here, WCS. Just get it back to normal. Doesn't matter. All right, now I want to be on this corner here. I'm going to draw 1 by 1. Actually, I need to be a foot off. So this needs to be 14 feet wide. So this is going to be my, I'm still concrete foundation. That's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw. I want to draw a rectangle that's going to shoot across this. So I need to rotate my X like so, and rotate my Y like that, right? X, Y going that way, all right? So I'll just start the rectangle. Actually, before I do that, actually the layer is correct. So REC for a rectangle. And I want to come from this spot right here. Acquire, don't click. With O tracking, I'll just type a foot. And then now I've started there. This is a 1 by 1, right? So 1, 1, enter. And then I can do Control. Now, if I want this to be a part of this solid on the bottom, Control Shift E will allow that to happen. If I don't, I run the Extrude command. It's up to you. The reason I'm adding this, or I'm going to extrude it, is I need to mirror this on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and click this here, go that way. And again, it does not matter where you snap. I'm going to snap nearest this way because it just goes right to that point. All right, so now I'm still in this plane. So if I go to the mirror command, I'll just pick that there, pick the block or that solid, and I'll snap here. And then I'll go, oh, actually, I'm in the wrong, that's right, I'm in the wrong orientation, right? X, Y is going the wrong way. So let's change that here to WCS and then mirror. And then we'll pick this here and then snap. I'll just track that way, click, enter, done, right? It's that simple, one's done. All right, now I've got to put the posts in. So I'm gonna go ahead and change my layer. Again, this is the beauty of kind of automating this. This is a 1 by 1 post. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the rectangle command. And here I can actually just snap here, right, and do a 1, 1. All right, now I want to extrude this for the height that it needs to be, which is 8 feet. I want it to be separate. If I didn't do extrude, did press pull, it would make it part of this one. Because once I do one, I'm gonna copy it, then mirror it, right? Again, you can use either one, but realize what's gonna happen afterwards. So I'll go ahead and do extrude, and I'll just pick this here, and we'll just go straight up 8 feet. Now, I'm gonna just copy this. All right, I need a total of 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick on this here, press enter. All right, what I wanna do is I wanna grab the midpoint of my base of this solid here. Now, when you don't know what to do, as you probably heard me say if you've been on any webinar of mine before, look to the command line window, all right? A lot of people ignore this and they just start typing the distance that it needs to be. And they keep clicking, clicking, clicking. Well, again, when you don't know what to do, look to the command line window. Specify second point or array. That's been around since like, I think 2014 AutoCAD at least. So I'll type A spacebar. I want a total, again, look to the command line window. I want a total of 5. And the distance from the midpoint, I'll make sure I'll track this here. The distance is 7.75, so 7.75, enter, and that's it. Very simple, I just did them all at once, all right? Now I need to copy these, so I'm gonna go ahead and just select those 3 there, select these here. I could run the mirror command or just copy, it doesn't really matter, right? If I mirror this here, and click here, and go that way, boom, boom, and now I'm done. Again, let's look at this in realistic. right? Everything looks good, right? And within a few, it's been 5-10 minutes, I've already have this part done. And this is what I like to kind of hopefully show people is it's really not that hard as you think, and once the 3D model is done, the whole benefit is you can do a visualization. You can even plot your plans. There are ways to plot the plans automatically, like front, top, and side view, etc. One thing I'll just mention with anything AutoCAD, Civil 3D, anything 3D, save as you go. So I just did a save, Control S, just because it's always a kind of a good idea. All right. Okay, let me change this back to 2D wireframe. All right. So now what I need to do is I need to put these 2x4 posts, and they have to be 4 inches apart. So if we kind of look at the detail here, you'll see, it's 4 inches spacing, but it's basically 2 inches per post. So it's a 2x4. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start at the center, and the remainder distance will be on the outskirts, right over here, right, and then over here. All right, so I'm just going to draw the rectangle out in space. Now, before I do that, I'm going to change this to fence 1, which is because this is a steel. They wanted steel, so I'll just draw a rectangle here, okay, and this is going to be I want this to be a 0.167. I'm in decimal feet, of course, comma 0.3333, and there's my post done. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just move this. Again, I drew it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Instead of trying to figure out, where to put it, the first point, just draw it, and then I'll just grab the mid between 2 points to get the center, right? And then I'll do mid between 2 points using my 3D snaps, and there's the center. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do the copy first, and we'll go ahead and copy this here. And I want to be from here, we want 4 inches. So if I do this here, that's going to be 0.333 plus 0.167. Actually, no, I'll just do this. We'll just do from, right? So I'll do shift right click from. Instead of trying to figure out the math, I can just snap here, right? Go like this, 0.333. And now just to check it, I always like to check, make sure I did this right? And there's 0.3333, all right? All right, so now let's go ahead and just copy this around. All right, so we'll do the copy command, and then we'll pick here, and I'll go ahead and snap here, right? And then I want this to be an array, and let's make sure I do this right. And I forget how many, I'm gonna do 6. I can always change it afterwards. And I want the distance to be actually right here. Notice how I can snap here, by the way, too, right? So just to verify that's correct, we are good to go. All right, it looks like I got the right distance, and I'm just going to verify at the end I don't have more than 4 inches. So, whoops. I don't know what just happened. Hopefully I'm not crashing. I just did the distance command, but I always type so fast that sometimes it causes it to kind of do its thing. Let's do this here real quick. Do that. Come on. It's stuck. Trust me, it's not your screen. It's not the internet being stuck. It's my screen. All right, come on. Sometimes alt tabbing will wake it up. That's why I'm doing alt tab. There we go. All right, and then if I go here, I got 0.29, we're good to go, right? All right, so now I can just do the mirror command, right? And I'll grab those, and we'll just pick a point, like so, and keep those. All right, now I want to keep these, separate. I'm not going to run the press pull, but now I can just do the extrude command, and this is going to be 7.7 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a window selection here. Whoops. So extrude, and just grab all those, press enter, and then type 7.7. All right, now what I need to do is I need to draw some brackets, right? If I look at this, I need to have some braces here, sorry, 1, 2, and 3. We'll start at the middle, and then we'll just copy it around, okay? All right, so again, one of the things it does kind of, our eyes do the optical illusion thing. Sometimes you start to see the wireframes in like, upside down, etc. So I do, shift middle click to kind of every now and then to kind of get my orientation. I look at my view cube. One of the things don't forget about is you can simply just do isolate your objects too. Don't forget that. So I'm going to just pick these two because that's all I need. And I'm going to go ahead and right click, isolate, and then isolate objects. And I'm done, right? It's now I can just see the faces I need to see. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw a rectangle, again, out in space, and I'll move it to where it needs to go. So this will be a 4x4, I believe. I'm sorry, it's a 4 by 0.4. That's right. Yep. So it's I'll just draw a rectangle here, 4 inches, not 4 feet. All right. So we'll go ahead and do. Actually, now I want to draw it in the right orientation. Right. So right there, I was drawing it the wrong way. So I'll just go ahead and pick my UCS. We'll do this. Right, and then do that. Right. So I'm going into this post. Right. If I just draw a rectangle out in space, you'll see. Right. It's doing it like this. Okay. All right. So this needs to be 0.4 high. And then comma, I need 0.3333. Did I get that right? Let's see. I think that's the distance I needed. If we go here and we go perpendicular, whoops. Just make sure I got that distance right. Yep, 0.33. All right, so I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna move this. Boy, whenever I hit shift, for some reason it keeps wanting to pause. That's a strange thing. I've had that happen before, but haven't yet figured out what that means. And so it's actually kind of causing my, there we go. And we'll just pick, we'll just acquire these points. I'll just use tracking, make it a little bit easier, right? I can just use tracking to get that midpoint. There's that. And then now I'll grab the, mid between 2 points. And actually, I take that back. I'm just gonna go ahead and use that right there. I forgot about that snap, right? So if I move this, and we'll just track here, and acquire, and click. I like to show this one here. So if you hover over a 3D solid, you'll see right there, see that circular thing? If I click, it puts it right on the face of it. All right. It looks like I measured that too. That's too long. That's okay. We'll just fix that. So I'll go and pick this here. And boy, that shift is really causing a problem there. That's interesting. Kind of annoying, but interesting. Hopefully this wakes up here. I'm trying to get perpendicular. Of course, when I was demoing this whole thing the whole time, it never did anything, but that's fine. It always does that, right? So let's hover here, and I'll grab that. And maybe I can just use tracking to get the, there we go. All right. All right, so now I've got that. And what I'm going to do, because I'm going to copy this, is I'm going to extrude this. I'm not going to run the press pull, because if I run the press pull, it joins it with the other 3D solids. So we'll just go here, and then we'll just snap anywhere along that edge. It does not matter. All right, now I need to copy this. And for now, for the bottom one, I'll just go ahead and grab this, and we'll go right to the bottom. That's where it needs to go. And then for this one here, we'll go ahead and copy this one, and I'll grab the endpoint, and I need to be from, so hopefully this doesn't, there we go, from this here, I need to be down 4 inches. So I'll just grab that from, track down 0.3333, and now I'm there. Okay, now let's go ahead and just unisolate everything. All right, got everything back. Now I want to join these because I need to copy this all the way around. So I will pick one, right click, select similar, and I'm going to isolate these here. I could probably just run the command, but I just wanted to show it to you kind of by itself, all right? So if you look over here in the solid tab, again, I'm in the 3D workspace, 3D modeling workspace. There is some of these commands you're going to use. The most one you'll use the most, or the one that you'll use the most, are on union and possibly subtract, okay? I must never use intersect, but union, and I'm going to grab these and just do that, press enter, and it looks like it trimmed them out. So that looks kind of bad, right? But again, if you change this to realistic, you will see it's doing just fine. It's doing exactly what it needs to, right? So it looks exactly how it's supposed to look, all right? So let's change that back to 2D, select everything. And now it's pretty straightforward, right? Because now this is all one entity. So I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this. And I'll just grab this endpoint here. I don't know this distance, honestly, so I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this around, right? So I'll copy it there, copy it there, copy it there, and we'll do this. And if I wanna just kind of do this quickly, I'll just select similar. And remember, I can now, actually, where's my XY? We're normal, so we're gonna run the mirror command, right? Actually, no, I'm not. Let's change that back to the top. I thought it looked like it was, but it's not. So I'll pick one, right click, select similar, run the mirror command, snap, track, enter, done, right? I mean, again, you see how simple this is. So again, find when you want to do press pull, find when you're gonna do, you know, union, this type of stuff, but you know, again, you also have the options for extruding. Okay, now I am getting a little close for time here because I want to make sure I get into the InfraWorks side of things too. Let me just show you some tricks that I did to get the roofing in there very easily. So if you look over here, all right, I've already got this 2D detail. Now, normally details, we just draw them up and they're not one-to-one. But of course, because I knew I would be doing a 3D model and I knew that, or I was thinking I kind of want to get dimensions off this thing possibly, this whole thing is to scale, right? So this is the sheet, you know, that I just showed you here. And so all of this is to scale. So I already have the features, you know, I did all the measurements in 2D on the different views. And the beauty of doing this is that when you go to 3D modeling, you can grab all this stuff and use it to extrude and do whatever else you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all these three here. So that's my shape there. That's my slabs. That's my panels, etc. My roof, etc. Actually, this one here is not as crucial. Actually, I guess we'll copy just in case we need it. So I'm going to simply do a Control-Shift-C because I'm going to grab it from a specific base point. Control-Shift-C is copy with base point if you're not familiar. And I'll just go ahead and grab this right here because we don't have that point yet. Actually, I could have just grabbed that point there. In fact, let's do that again. Control-Shift-C because I've got that point. I have this one right here. Let's go back to my drawing. Now, if I do a Control-V right now, depending on what my UCS is, that's what it will paste in that plane. So right now I'm in top view WCS, or in the world coordinate system. So again, just simply pick your UCS. You don't have to zoom. I keep zooming, but you don't have to. Just pick your UCS because I need to click on this circular grip right here. Come on. There we go. And then for the Y, I'm going to go straight up. So now my plane is pushing towards or down the path. Now, when I do a Control-V, I now have exactly where I need that to be. Oops, it looks like I must have not done. Did I do 8 feet? I thought I did. Let's just verify that. If I distance here to there, it's 8 feet. Okay, that's fine. I can move it down. It's not a big deal. But you get the idea, right? So I can move this down here, and I'll grab this point here, and that was supposed to be right there, let's say. Okay. All right, so that kind of gets you the orientation, and now you can just extrude them, okay? Again, I'll just show you kind of a real basic one here that I did for, and of course, I got to put the other material in there, the wood too. So I'm already in this view, or I'm sorry, this plane. So if I just draw a rectangle here, and actually I want to make sure I'm on the right layer, so let's set this to wood, and I'll go ahead and snap here. And this will be a, let's see, this is a 1 foot by 14 feet, right? So it's going to be a, I'm snapping, obviously that's not what I want. So I need a 14, actually no, 1, 14. Oh, I went the wrong way. So let's undo that. And rectangle, and I'll snap here, 14, 1. All right. So the reason I did it at the middle is, again, let's say it's a 2 by 4 or 2 by 6 or whatever, 2 by 8, whatever the heck it is, right? So I need to have, I need to press pull this, right? So I press pull this one, which is fine. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this, and I want to go 0.08333, right? So 0.08333. I'll go that side because then what I can do is just pick this side here, and then 0.08333, and now I have that block. All right. Or that piece of wood. All right, so it's that simple. Then of course I would just copy that around, same exact thing, right? Now again, for the 2 by 4s or whatever, wherever they need to sit, if let's say one's up here, it needs to, so I would move that up to the top. Or actually, that was the right point. I guess I should have just left it. I forgot. I didn't realize that. That's right. So actually, I think it's still on my clipboard. Let's actually delete those. If I do a Control-V, there we go, and snap here, right? Now it's in the right spot. Okay, so I would do the same thing with the 2 by 4, and then I would just array it all the way across. Okay, so again, I'm getting low on time because I want to get to the InfraWorks part. So, but that's basically how you can kind of do that. And of course, if you have the roof, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just extrude this if you really, this is gonna be too big. I would just do a small little narrow one. So if I were to just extrude this here, just to kind of show it to you, right? I can go all the way across, and if I give this, and I would snap to or give it the right distance, and let's put this on the right layer. So let's put that on the roof layer here. And if I change this to realistic, you guys get the idea, right? I mean, it's not hard, right? That's as pretty as simple as it kind of gets. And of course, I'd have the wood in the middle, I'd have these slats in the middle, and you'd have the canopy done, or the bridge canopy, the bridge done, okay? And that's basically kind of just some of the basic steps of getting it all done. But again, within 20 minutes here, I'm almost complete. You know, with another 10 minutes, I'd kind of be done. One of the little tricks I do want to mention to you is sometimes when you're in a certain plane that you want to kind of get something to, you sometimes want to try to like get the intersection of, let's say, where a 3D face intersects another 3D face, but it's hard to do that. So what you can do as a little trick, just draw a line that's nearest on it, okay, on both sides. Oops. So let's draw a line that's nearest here. Oh, it's doing that shift thing again. I should have just snapped endpoint. I think it's because the shift is causing a problem with when you hold the shift key down, it's supposed to lock your snap. So something's going on with that. It must be something on my end. I usually turn those off. But if this wakes up, what I was trying to show you is you snap to the other nearest edge. Come on. I'm sure you guys never have problems with CAD like I do. Come on, wake up. There we go, finally. All right, so I'll just snap to the end here. What I was trying to show you the trick is, so sometimes, like I said, when there are edges, you can't get the intersection. It doesn't work, which is kind of weird. I wish it did. But what you can do is just draw lines nearest on each edge, okay? And then shift right click, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Choose a parent intersection, and it will grab right there. So now I literally have that intersection of that edge right there. That's kind of a cool little trick you can do. I've used it all the time, because sometimes, like I said, you'll have 3D edges intersecting. There's no snap to, which it should do in my opinion, but it just doesn't. Okay. Okay. Let's jump onto the InfraWorks side of things. So let me go ahead and open that up. Oh, actually, I was supposed to show, if I remember correctly. Let me just show you something real quickly on AutoCAD rendering while that's loading up there. Let me go into AutoCAD again, or Civil 3D. So again, this is just AutoCAD, not Civil 3D. But what you can do, if you look here, what I've done, I've already created some cameras. I'm not going to do it because it does, my graph chart is pretty good, but it still pauses quite a bit. So what I've done is I actually did go here to visualize, and I did add some lights. You'll see these lights here, okay? And I guess let me try it. I can always just jump into InfraWorks. If I click on this camera, the camera will come up. And again, you can snap to 3D, and you can kind of see how this will look. When you do that, it brings up this preview. And if you look here, you can change this to realistic. And I have all this lighting that I did. You can pretty much get a pretty good rendering image right from AutoCAD. I'll try and make this a little bigger without it crashing. But as you can see, it's actually with those spotlights, I put them in the different spots, so it would actually do a nice job. Now you're seeing the line kind of work. Actually, while I have this selected, let me just set that. I'll set my camera view. Let me do it again. Set camera view. So that sets the view to the camera, which is kind of cool. It actually puts it right in the AutoCAD drawing, realistic and everything. Now I'm seeing the corridor model, so I don't want to see that. So what I've already done, again, this is Civil 3D, is I've gone in and created some, let me select this here, code set styles that shut everything off. All right, so you're not going to see the links. Basically, the links will just disappear here, and you're stuck with the model as itself, which is kind of nice. These are feature lines. I could just freeze those or shut them off too. You'll notice this little trash can here. I'm going to get into that tip in a second, but these are simply the multi-view blocks that come with Civil 3D. So a lot of people aren't aware that they have this functionality. It's been around forever, but they're just kind of hidden here. I'm just grabbing my palette over here. If I right click on the title bar here, Civil Multi-View Blocks. And there's a whole bunch of really cool little blocks here that you can grab from for all kinds of stuff, benches, trash cans, you name it. You can put them in here, right? A tree marker, a flagpole, whatever. You can put people there if you wanted to. All right, then what you can do is you can actually drape it to a surface, right? There's a command if you select your surface, drape blocks, it automatically drapes it. Or you can move it in 3D. It's up to you. All right, it's kind of a cool little functionality. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to just minus this here so we can just get right into the InfraWorks. All right, so let me show you the completed model here that I've done. Oops, actually that's the right one. Yep. And then I'm going to start this from scratch too. Again, I don't like to show you too much, just can and say, oh, look at this whiz bang and this is it. I want to show you stuff and I make mistakes as I'm doing it, and you can kind of see stuff as you want to, right? So here's the completed file. All right, again, it's a combination of InfraWorks, Civil 3D objects, and AutoCAD objects. All right, again, it's actually really cool. I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch. We'll just hit new. I don't have BIM 360. It gives you that error. It doesn't mean anything. It just means you're gonna make a local copy. So we'll call this one Trail 3. Actually, we'll call it Bridge. Actually, Canopy Bridge, and Trail. Oh, you can't do the ands. That's right. I think it's just dashes you have to have. All right, my coordinate system is FL83-NF, which I've already done, and I'll just click OK. We'll just start from scratch. So let me just show you what I have here. I'm pretty lucky in what I have available to me. So what I normally do is in my CAD folder, I create a subfolder called Viz, if I'm going to have an InfraWorks model. And what I do is I add all the resources I need here. I heard it mentioned, I forgot who it was, one of the guys from Autodesk. This is actually a really great term. InfraWorks is like the garbage dispenser for anything CAD related. It really is. You can basically bring in anything you want, right? So if you look over here, I've got my ADF file, which would be my surface, right? That's my actual DEM file. I have my image here to drape it on there. Then I have all the stuff that I've already kind of finished, along with some other kind of things that I may or may not need, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start with the surface. So, oops, let me go back to there. And I've got this DEM file. So I'm very lucky in that I have the water management here flies their entire water management. We're in the northern Swanee River. And they give access to, it's free because it's public domain. They give access to LiDAR. So it's all ground surface data. So I made a grid of my surface and got the right coordinate system, close and refresh. And there's my terrain. It's that quickly. That's what I love about that. Basically, it's anywhere in the district I can get, okay? I'm now going to drag in. Let me put it over here so you can see me doing this. Nothing magical. I'm going to grab the imagery. Again, this is just from Labins. You guys should be familiar with Labins. It's the area. If you go to labins.org, you can pretty much download anything, imagery and even parcels and stuff like that too. We'll close and refresh this. And that drapes now automatically. Okay. Right. And so now if we look, right, within a few seconds, I've got my terrain. Oh, oops, I'm in the wrong spot. Where's the river? There it is, right there. All right, there's a river, all that good stuff, okay? All right, now I wanna grab my corridor model. So if I go to my roadway project, so roadway folder, and here's my model. I have two of them. I just copied this and called it modeling. That way I could see it if I was gonna do the rendering, but I'm just gonna drag this in here. When you drag an AutoCAD file, it gives you three options. AutoCAD Civil 3D drawing, which is what we want. 3D objects, we're gonna do that later, or 2D as overlay, or I'm sorry, DWG as 2D overlay. I'll toggle that off. This is a Civil 3D file. So basically interrogates the file and says, hey, I only need those Civil 3D objects. Forget anything AutoCAD. Now, when you do this functionality, just so you know, it doesn't upload it to the cloud. It does it, I'm fairly certain it just does it based upon your, wherever it's located. All right, so not always, but I sometimes toggle this on for displaying purposes. If you go to geolocation, it's got the coordinate system. And if you go to source, you have to do this now. Make sure you do this now because you can't fix it afterwards, which is kind of a silly bug, in my opinion. They'll tell you it works as designed. Clip to model extent. If not, I'm gonna get all 12 miles of the corridor model, which I obviously don't want. Close and refresh. And it says I have some surfaces in there that might need to be in the surface layers. I'll say yes for now, but normally I hit no. And it allows you to kind of reorganize the order and things, right? Because I have my existing ground, I've got other things. I don't need them. I could toggle it on if I really wanted to, but I don't need it. It doesn't matter to me. We'll just hit OK here. And as you can see, I now have the corridor model inside my InfraWorks model, okay? So there's a couple of things first that's wrong. First off, you can see this. That's not what I want. I'm going to show you how to fix that in a second. The other thing too is I want to show this pretty picture here. That looks hideous to me, right? This going across the image. That looks terrible. So right from the bat, That should have clipped it. Oh, that's weird. Okay, it didn't clip it. Well, it should have clipped it. I swear I toggled it on. I would probably do it again, but just for time constraints, I'm not gonna worry about it. So what I'm gonna do here is I wanna create a road, a component road. I always do component roads that we can have easier modification. And I'm literally just gonna go and just draw this in here. I don't really care if it's spot on, or if I have a lot of PIs, it does not matter to me, right? So if I rotate this to the top here, kind of get a better idea to see my center is. Again, this is just a pretty picture at this point for this. I'm gonna add a ton of PIs. I just don't care. It's not gonna matter. It'll be enough to cover the whole road. And then when I get down to the end, I'll just simply double click. All right, so there's my road. All right, so of course that looks nice. Now, one of the things you may or may not need to do, sometimes it puts it a little too high for my liking, because if I were to click your component road, so you can click each component. I'm gonna click the daylight line, or the grading part here, and I'll click here. I want that to be grass. Click here. I want that to be grass. 10 feet's fine. I want 4 to 1, and I want 4 to 1. And what you'll start to kind of notice is that it doesn't necessarily do a perfect scenario. So if you look there, right, it's kind of, it looks like it's putting a lot in there. So what you can do, whoops, let me go back. Where's there it is, over here, my bridge, right? That's not too bad, but don't forget, you can always select this, right click, and then show station in profile view. And if it's going above existing ground too much or something like that, don't forget, and if you don't see existing ground, you can click on here, existing ground, toggle that on. And so now I can see that, okay, it's not too bad. Maybe I want to lower this here and I'll just drag this across, right? So it doesn't get too much of a fill slope. I want it to be just kind of look pretty. That's good enough for me, right? And then in here, just hit escape and you can close it out. So you can change the profile after the fact, all right? Now what I need to do is I need to make a bridge, right? Because obviously that's going to show there. So I'm going to go ahead and just start over here and we'll go here, see what it gives me. Again, I don't need to be fancy schmancy here because it's just a visual type thing at this point, all right? All right, I'll just hit escape. Right, and there's that. I might fix this. I'll probably pull this in a little bit closer, right? Because it looks, so if you click on the bridge, you can pull this back in. Again, InfraWorks is another thing that's, it's fairly easy to work with. It's not hard. The only thing you'll kind of have to get used to is the zooming is a little different. Right click is pan, left click is, rotate view, and middle click is zoom up or down. It's very strange. And you can't change that. No matter how many times you've asked them to make it like AutoCAD, they won't do it. Anyway, so I want to add, let's say, guardrail. I'll just show you one way to, you could add curbing, guardrail. You could have a different bridge if you want here. It doesn't really matter. But what I basically do is if you just click here, because it's a component road, I'll click here again, and then right click. I'm sorry, my bad. Just click here, right click, and then I can insert a road component. And then I want to insert, let's say, I think I have guardrail here. I don't remember if I may not have the state kit in there. Correct? Yeah, I don't have it. It's fine. So I'll just click. We'll just do some curb, but of course you could do, the guardrail. So basically, I'm just gonna, left click, rotate the view here. I'm gonna click here to just put it in there, because then what you can do is just change the station to station limits of what that is. Okay. So, and again, you can keep building this thing as much as you want to. I can just drag this across here. Drag this across there, right? And now if I hit escape a couple times, you'll see there's, whoops, zoomed in a little too much. You see there's the actual component, right? So again, it could be guardrail, it could be whatever you want it to be, right? Now, notice how I have the same issue with this. Now, this one, because of the way the corridor model works, I found you got to be a little careful with this one. So you do your best, just hover. It feels like it's not working. I think you click first and then click here, and then click here. It's very strange. It's not like an actual, like a component road in InfraWorks. And sometimes I mess this up too. Like I think it might grab the first pick too sometimes, even though it's really the second pick. But okay, that's not too bad. That did a pretty good job. So it adds a bridge there too. Now, one little bug I found too, which was just really kind of silly. If you select the bridge and go to component display here, you should be able to toggle all this off. Right, see how it's toggling off, which is nice because I don't want to see that. I really don't have a bridge. But the second you hit escape, it pops back up. And again, I'm not an InfraWorks expert. There must be a way to shut that off, so I might email Autodesk to find that out. All right, but now I'm ready to bring my bridge in. I got 10 minutes left here. So let me go to here and I'll go to HCAD and then Viz. Again, remember, the bridge does not have to be in a 3D location, the XY location. So I'm just going to drag this in here. This is an AutoCAD DWG 3D objects, and then click OK. And this sends it up to the cloud. I don't care about references, but that's fine. So it says it ignores reference files. That's totally fine. I don't have any anyway. It just lets you know that. So this gets uploaded to the cloud. So I try and, if you'll notice here, what I like to do, by the way, is this is pretty small. So was my bridge start was pretty small. I'm not done, but compared to, like, let's say the model file, etc., I always do a WBlock usually. I'll right block out the file to a totally clean DWG file, because I really, you want as small of a file as possible for uploading and for downloading and all that good stuff. You don't need to have all the extra crappy kind of quote unquote data in there. Okay, so just minimize the data, because that's all you kind of need. This is taking a little more time than I expected. It should be done by now. It's not a very big file, but the internet at my house is not the best either. So, but anyway. All right, so what this is going to do is it's going to basically upload it to the cloud, and inside the cloud, there we go, it's going to say in progress, which should take a lot faster. And then once it's done, you then get to configure it. While we're waiting for that to work, you notice how I can still edit this. Sometimes the materials don't come in. You can still click on this and click on the grading material here and make it whatever material you want it to be. So I can click on that, and then I can grab the shoulder here. Did that do it? I should have done it. That's interesting. Let me pick that one. There we go. And let's pick this. And I'm overriding the material. When you bring a quarter model in, just so you know, there is some functionality. There we go. To, that's it right there. To map right here, components. So if I click on component mapping, you can choose what material in InfraWorks gets mapped to basically the shape code defined in here, or the link code. Okay. So, and then you can run the rules. Okay. Just be aware of that. Okay. All right, now, some of the little tricks I want to show you while that's kind of, actually that is done. So let me go ahead and double click this. That's to configure it. I can pick the coordinate system. It doesn't really matter, honestly, because what I'm going to do is interactive placing. Now, before I do that, you got to tell it what this is. This is a furniture, city furniture. If I go to 3D model, you'll notice it showing me a nice little preview right there. I'm not going to change anything. And then again, like I said, you don't need a coordinate system. I can do interactive placing. Now, I'm just going to click in space. It does not matter. Double click, close and refresh. And now it's kind of in there, right? Like that. So now what I can do is pick this. I can then rotate this to kind of get the orientation I want. I can pick this to drop it down into there, however I want to do this. Maybe that's what I want. And then I can pick this here to move this around across the set. Again, it's fine, right? That is good enough. I don't have to worry about that too much. That looks pretty darn good. Now, one thing I have found with the quarter model, no matter how much I added like this link here, it just didn't work. Like it just couldn't, even though I kind of fudged it in the quarter model, it still didn't work, and that was fine. So some little tricks here that you can do. What I did was I went to my quarter file and I drew a 3D polyline. Let me set this back to just 2D wireframe. And I'll go back to my top view here. And we'll zoom in here. Let me shut my glyphs off. That's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. So those are off. Let's do a regen. So you'll see here, I went in 3D and I drew this object right here, which is a 3D solid. Okay, it started out as a region, I'm sorry, 3D polyline, and then I just extruded it because I snapped to where the shape was. See how the chord is right here? So I just snapped in 3D. It's just basically going from the edge of the path to the daylight line or the slope line that I drew in there. Then what I do is I exported that because I don't want to do the whole file, right? I have a file here called green areas - trash. And I found this, for me, again, to each his own. I'm sure I've seen other people do different ways. This for me was like the best way to work. I would create like separate DWGs or one DWG of all the kind of intricate parts of whatever it is I wanted to add. And this is coordinate based now, so this is really important. So if I go to shaded here, you'll see, right, this actually is, there's that slope, and then there's the trash can. And then all I gotta do is basically go in here and simply, it's only 600 kilobytes, should go pretty quick. This is AutoCAD DWG, and then click OK. I just dragged it in. I'm going to send this. I know that already. And then basically, it's just going to upload it to the file. and then that's basically kind of it. And so again, you piecemeal in the things that you want to, the parts that may not be working of the model. Because for me, well, and it's true, in my opinion, doing like coverage areas in InfraWorks is not like the easiest. You can't snap to anything. I just go into CAD, draw myself a 3D polyline or a 3D solid or whatever, and then just kind of get it done. Okay. Now, one of the other things too, I only have about 5 minutes here, so I want to show you is bookmarks. So one of the things you want to do is you want to allow people to kind of see where that is, right? So I want to be in the path right here and then showing it. So if you look over here into bookmarks, you can click add, and I'll say, we'll call this on trail 1, okay? And then we'll do another one here. And we'll say, front of bridge, right? So click here and then say add and call this one front. All right, see how easy this is? It's not hard at all, right? I could do it here too if I want to see it from like the road, maybe. You want to see it from the road. So I'll pan down here like so, right? Bookmark, add from road, enter. Right, pretty straightforward. And of course here I can click on these, right? See how easy that is. You can also do, again, I'm running out of time, you can go to present and share and you could drive it. You can create a storyboard, right? It's very simple to kind of do that, okay? All right, I want to just finish showing you this here. Let me just configure this real quick, right? This is really simple. So this one does have a coordinate system, right? Or it should. So I want that to be FL83-NF. I'll make this city furniture just for the heck of it. And then close and refresh. And you'll see it pop up right over there, right? And so that's how simple that is, right? There, I just piecemealed that in and it lines up perfectly because I'm snapping to the corridor model, right? Which then this is the corridor model, right? I'm a little bit off with the bridge, right? Because I placed that manually again. If I wanted to, don't forget, you can simply pick this here and drag it a little bit farther down. Whatever you want to do kind of things, it's fine, right? It's just a representation of what needs to be there, okay? All right, the last thing I'll show you here, because I'm out of time, is how to share the view. You click right, let me first rotate my view to top just to kind of get it there, all right? You click this button right here. It's that simple. You go to shared views. All right, let me close my data sources. And I already have one. I already did this, obviously, because I wanted to get it done first. Click new shared view, and I would not do the whole model. You want to click this entire model off and go to polygon. Click define your polygon, wherever you want to be, kind of thing, double click at the end, and then click share. And it uploads the whole model to the internet, and you're good to go. Once that's done, what you will get is the link. A dialog box will pop up, but it also grabs the link over here, and you can then click view file. You can forward that email to everybody, and then all the stakeholders have access to the viewer right here. And of course, you can just see it. I already have it open, right? And here again, they have access to this. They can see all the different the bookmarks that you add. That's what gets recorded. And they can left click and zoom in here as well. Just so you know, by default, it's backwards zooming, which I don't understand why. I think they made this more towards mechanical. I think mechanical engineering does that mostly. I know architectural and civil don't, but whatever. If you go to settings, navigation, you can reverse, where are we here? Drag speed, reverse mouse zoom direction, okay? One of the things you can do too, which is kind of nice, you can, I believe, is I can do first person here. Let me see, actually, let me escape out of it. There we go, yep. And then now I'm just using WASD, right, like a video game. And I can left click turn at the same time, so I can literally go down the path, right? And we can kind of see what it looks like from the inside. Now, once this was done, I have to tell you, we told DOT, okay, this looks like a prison. I'm not gonna lie, but it's the requirements that they want. So, that's just, it is what it is, okay? So again, I'm just using WASD or the arrow keys in the keyboard, right? All right, so that's, and then left click twist kind of thing, all right? And so that's basically kind of, once it's done, how you can kind of upload it and just share it with everybody else. All right, any questions?
Right. So due to the time constraint, I think we're going to skip the questions for today.
Okay.
But Seth, I'm going to have you jump over to that next slide for us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thank you so much, Seth, for being here with us today. And thank you everybody for attending again our creating and publishing a Canopy Bridge to InfraWorks webinar. I know I learned a couple things. I'm sure you guys did too. Like I mentioned, this video will be sent out to you if you were registered for the webinar, and it will be up on our YouTube channel and on our website probably by the end of the day, I would say. But if anybody has any questions or anything, for us, give us a call at 305-445-6480 or shoot us an email at info@ddscad.com. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.